What's up, guys? Sean Forney here. Going to do a little video on a comparison. I don't know why I didn't think about doing this one sooner, but the Polaris 200 EFI versus the Polaris 170 EFI. They are the kids' introduction to Rangers, and when the 170 first came out, it was pretty good. Everybody thought it was good, but it had a bunch of minute issues with it. One, it didn't turn. Two, didn't have any ground clearance. I think it has 19-inch wheels and 20-inch wheels, or tires rather. And it has like, I don't know, it has like a lot of fake stuff on it. It does have real headlights, but it doesn't have brake lights. It doesn't have a bunch of stuff. So if you're a helicopter dad like myself, but yet you want your kids to have fun, I wanted the kids to, what I do for a living is risk management. I own a commercial insurance agency, so first thing I always have to think about is safety, right? I have to practice what I preach to all my clients. So that being said, instead of getting a four-wheeler, which I have a four-wheeler, I wanted my kids to learn how to drive something with a steering wheel and with seat belts. I think it does a couple things for them, right? I think it teaches them how to drive at an early age. You can have golf carts and things like that, sure. But it does a lot for their development into understanding how to operate a vehicle in general, right? So a couple pros and cons. The 170, again, first generation, it was great whenever it came out. It was a good introduction to side-by-sides for kids. If you didn't want a go-kart and you didn't want a four-wheeler, it was the perfect in the middle. Price point was okay, I think around $5,800 at the time. But the new ones, this one right here is a 2021, has a bunch of great features because Rangers in general have grew leaps and bounds from 2016 to 2021. So I will do a side-by-side comparison and show you the pros and cons between the two. We have one, this is my oldest daughter's. So one of the things that I do for my kids is whenever they turn 6, I buy them one of these. So at some point we'll have 4 of them. Maybe not. My oldest daughter may not want that one. Maybe we sell it at some point because she'll be driving a car in 2 years. So that being said, stay tuned. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I do all sorts of these types of videos. So thank you all so much. Stay tuned. All right. So here you have side-by-side comparison. Now this one, again, 2016, we have beat the crap out of it. You can see it's got condensation in the headlight. It does have 2 working headlights, but you can just see the stance. 24-inch tires, 20 rather, and 19. So if you just look at the ground clearance between the two of them, you can see. So again, the biggest complaints I have on the 2016, again, it was great whenever it first came out. We loved it. We still use it. We still beat the heck out of it. But if you actually wanted to take it on trails, they better be smooth and they better be flat because you have no ground clearance to go over anything bigger than 6 to 8 inches, okay? This one obviously it's just all around better. And the price point, I think maybe $800 or $1,000 more expensive between 2016 and 2021. So not a huge jump if you take into consideration the prices of everything else, how much they've increased. But all right, so first we'll go over the 170. So the 170, you can just see stickers are cheap. Everything on this, for the most part, I believe, is cheap-ish. Now, there was a way for you to limit the speed on this one with a little jumper that you would stick on a terminal underneath this seat. It was a little piece of metal, and it limited it to like 15 miles an hour or something like that. I can't remember. But that was it. You can also see this one does not have an actual working speedometer, hour meter, anything like that. It just has low oil, low fuel, neutral. I forget what that one's for, but it is what it is. Okay, they both come with this. They both have typical steering wheels. This one you could not adjust. This one you can adjust. It has 4 different settings of adjustment on it. But I mean, you can just see whenever it was built, again, for the time, these are great, but there wasn't a lot of configurability with these. If you actually wanted to be able to take these off-road, you can look it up. You can buy a big wheel kit for these and a slight lift. Then you can take it off-road. But other than that, you're stuck to trails. We ride it around the hay fields. We ride it around our trails that we know are groomed pretty well. There's no down trees or anything like that. So, you know, but again, overall, this thing, solid axle in the rear. It's a big improvement over here. You can see it is not a straight axle, but this thing, I can tell you, we've never got it stuck in the mud. I don't know why. This thing is like a tank. It just plows through everything. But you can see this thing, you know, it's got some beat up plastic now, probably backed into a tree. These stickers are coming off. My kids have probably left it outside several times. But overall, we've serviced it. I bet you it probably has 150, maybe 200 hours on it. But, you know, besides the battery needing put on a tender every once in a while because my kids leave the key in it and leave it in the on position, this thing has been super reliable. I mean, very, very reliable. We had one issue where it was going into limp mode because the battery, something with the electronics got wet. It was like an overall known issue with these 170s, and they had to put some silicone around this connector, and that solved the problem. Okay, now let's go over to the new and improved. Again, you have 20-inch wheels in the rear, 19-inch up front, 24-inch wheels all around on this bad boy. But LED headlights, they look good. These are like almost like daytime running lights right here. Again, independent suspension. Let's see, let's turn this. But you can see it has a very, very nice, aggressive front end. And it's overall bigger. I think it's at least 5, maybe 6 inches higher. Plus you get doors. So on that one, you have the nets that actually clip in here. Over here, you actually have these doors that open suicide style like this. There's your fuel gauge. And again, you can see it's my kids. We got leftover French fries down here, toys, a random colored pencil, you know, some kind of Paris purse and a train, of course. Oh, and of course, don't forget the walkie-talkies that you need for every kid. But again, doors, suicide style. There's a little bit more room back here, so my kids, whenever we're picking up hay, which we just did this week, they'll stack one hay bale here. They will go out and pick it up themselves, and they will help us, which is very nice of them to actually do that. But you can see in the rear, it is chain driven on that side. It's a little bit different of a configuration over here for the chain drive. Again, independent rear end, solid axle over here, LED brake lights, and again, just look at the ground clearance comparison. I mean, the ground clearance, in my opinion, was this one's biggest downfall. Now, they call this a 200 EFI, but it is not. It's a 170. That one's a 169. But one of my favorite features of this, now that I will sit in here, is it does actually have a working gauge. Okay, it has your hours, or has your tachometer, miles per hour, 2 places. This is a little redundant. I don't know why they do this. You have it here and up here always. Odometer, this one's obviously fairly new, 168.5 miles. Trip 1, trip 2, your volts. And geofence. So this is one of the next 2 things I'll talk about are my favorite features on this, because when I bought my daughter this at 6 years old, I want to have more control. So I can set a geofence around this field, okay? And it will, if she leaves the geofence, it will stop this, okay? I don't know, you know, hashtag science, but it's amazing whenever you're trying to teach a young kid how to drive it, okay? So it also has a function called helmet aware to make sure your kids are wearing their helmets, okay? in addition to that, this thing goes into turtle mode without, I have them buckled right now because I'm driving it, but without these buckled, it will not let them go over like 3 or 4 miles an hour, which is amazing. 24 hours on it. This is your hour meter, your service, total time, the temperature. Okay, so we'll start it up. Okay, and one other thing real quick. So this connects Bluetooth with my Polaris app and my phone, and I control with my phone the maximum speed, okay? So right now I have it set at 20. That one would go up to, I think, about 40. I can't remember actually what this one tops out at off the top of my head. You also have a plug right here. I can't get it off, of course, but you know, and these handlebars are nice. My other kids like to ride. I think that it also helps them understand and learn how to drive from the passenger seat, watching their older siblings do it. But you do need to press the brake. Again, this is a little awkward for me because I'm 6'2", so I always leave my leg hang out because it's the most comfortable position. So right now, I started with my daughter at 10 miles an hour, okay? No, I'm sorry, 6 miles an hour. I made her drive it like that for a few weeks, then I bumped it up to 10. And just last week, I finally, after about 6 months at 10, I bumped it up to 20. And you can see this thing has some get up and go. We'll go for a little ride. And it has no problems going up or down steep banks. You can hear the rear tires gripping. All right, there's that quick ride. Okay, so all of that being said, I am 6'2", 165-ish pounds. This thing has no problem pulling me around. Now, that one did not either, okay? That one was a little less comfortable than this one. Again, 6'2", I can be fairly comfortable. My only problem in that one is my head hits the roll bar. As you can see, I still have about 4 inches of clearance, okay? So, you know, I can drive this, and I do drive this. If I have to go put our chickens in, or if I have to go check on the animals or check the water for the cows, whatever the case is, I hop in this thing or on my Honda Ruckus, and I go down there. And this thing is perfectly fine for me to do that. I strap our 1.5-year-old here with his seatbelt on and go like 10 miles an hour, and it's fairly comfortable, and he loves it. Like, he loves anything with an engine. So, you know, obviously between 2016 and 2021, they grew leaps and bounds. If I had to pick one, obviously it would be this one, hands down, no question. And for the price, that's the kicker. You know, you ask yourself, because you can go out and buy an SSR, you can buy some kind of go-kart or some kind of cheap alternative, but Polaris, for anybody that knows side-by-sides, Polaris single-handedly really put side-by-sides on the map with Polaris Rangers and the RZRs. Everybody else has followed suit. Polaris, now everybody has caught up. Can-Am, Kawasaki, the Yamaha, they've all caught up. But still, I think Polaris has been doing it for so long, I think they do it the best, okay? I've had a 1000 Ranger XP North Star, which I've done a video on, and again, phenomenal, just all around great rig. So if it was me, for the money that you pay, I buy the extended warranties on this thing. So my kids can beat the crap out of them for 3 or 4 years, whatever it is. Anything happens, I take it to our local dealership, which is Ridersville Cycle in Berkeley Springs. They're one of the biggest Polaris dealers in the country. Give them a call if you want to find the best deal on a side-by-side. because they are the best to deal with, hands down. They're right here in our hometown of Berkeley Springs. They've been the biggest Polaris dealer in the country multiple times. So that was a free shout out, by the way. But they're great to deal with. This one I bought during COVID. There was none in stock. I happened to stop by there. And I said, hey, do you guys happen to have one of these? I was hoping to get it for my daughter for her birthday. Her birthday was the day after the day I stopped by there. Like, hey, we just got this one, and nobody has a deposit on it yet. And I was like, I'll take it. So I left with it right away. So it was just by happenstance, pure fate, that it wound up working out like that. But anyway, the Polaris 200 EFI, hands down the best. That one, for its time, in my opinion, was the best then, besides its little quirky issues, ground clearance, turning radius, all that other good stuff. But this, they listened and they fixed all of those concerns with the 200. So again, everybody, thank you for watching so much. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you soon.